Hey there, my name is AJ, the VA teacher here, and I'm so happy that I could shoot the content now, and this is my first long form video here in YouTube discussing more about real estate virtual assistants, because most of my videos here are just focusing on the basics of real estate, what are the other sides of the real estate. But now I want to talk more about the series, okay? So for this series, we're going to talk about modern real estate VA skills. Again, modern real estate VA skills. We might be thinking that our skills as of this moment, maybe it is still applicable, but we have to think through, or we have to think outside the box, that maybe there are some skills that you need to obtain or to acquire in order for you to survive in this market, this 2025 and the next year coming, right? So we're going to discuss that series, and today what we're going to talk about is the new role of a real estate virtual assistant. So what is the new role of virtual assistant? And I've been discussing this couple of times. What is, real estate? You have to first learn what's the meaning of real estate. That's first thing that you have to identify or to learn if you want to become a real estate virtual assistant, because we don't want to do a job that we don't know what is the foundation of what we're doing. So real estate isn't just about selling houses, right? There are a lot of, branches when it comes to real estate. But myself, I do specialize in residential real estate, a little bit of property management, commercial real estate, and vacant land, something like that. So today, this is a very good conversation or very good topic, because we're going to talk about what's the new role of real estate virtual assistant as of this moment, and then 5 years ago. What are the things that real estate virtual assistant doing before, and right now, this 2025, what are the things that you should be doing as an aspiring real estate virtual assistant? So 5 years ago, most real estate VAs were behind the scenes, okay? What we just do is we just answer emails, updating spreadsheets or Excel files, and maybe posting just like a picture in social media for a particular listing. And this 2025, the role of real estate virtual assistants has exploded into a various tasks, okay? And it is something bigger. And when I say something bigger, it talks about transaction coordinators, right? Or transaction coordination, client communication, and business growth partners. We're not just like someone who will always take tasks from the client, but we're actually someone who acts as a business partner to the client. That's why these three major roles are most prominent role as of this moment. We're not just like an encoders. We are business partners of real estate agents. So if you're thinking about becoming a virtual assistant, or if you're a realtor watching this video on how can be a virtual assistant scale your business, this episode is for you. Okay, so here's the first point that I'm going to discuss in this video. Before, we're just like the real estate virtual assistants are just like admin support. Like I'm not trying to dehumanize this role. Okay, I'm just going to compare what should be your role as of this moment instead of having this previous role. So before, we're just like admin support. Real estate virtual assistant are just like admin support. But right now, we are business systems manager, okay? Again, before we'll just like admin support. It seems like what we're just doing is just going to manage the inbox of our client, right? It's just like their shadow, right? And working at the back end and not on the limelight, right? But right now, our role is much more integral as a real estate virtual assistant. So what we're doing is we are now a business system manager. Because before, what we're just doing, as an example, is we're just trying to enter leads in the customer relationship management or CRM manually, and we will check inboxes. Those are the roles of a admin support. But now, as an example, as a business systems manager, what we are doing is we set up automations in the CRM of our clients. Some CRM like Go High Level, which is very rampant or very prominent as of this moment, and create smart views, right? And manage Zapier integrations to keep leads flowing. So if we're going to compare before, right? If we're just entering leads right now, we're trying to also get involved in nurturing those leads. That's why instead of being an administrative support, we are now also a business system manager. We also step in a much more bigger role where we optimize system inside their CRM, right? And that's a big help from them. And if you're somehow doing that to your client, you're not just like an admin support. You're now also a business system manager. And then why is it matters, right? It matters because your real estate agent can save up 10 to 15 hours weekly, and they can focus on more client-facing role and closings, right? Because they don't have to go inside their CRM and do that particular task. You as a business systems manager can do that, and not just like somehow like a normal administrative support doing a basic task. And if you're doing that, you are valuable and you get paid on a much more higher price or higher rates, right? And we really want that, right? My point number 2 is if we talk about administrative support earlier, we're going to talk about transaction coordination. So you might be asking me, AJ, what is transaction coordinator? So just to explain plainly, or just to laymanize the role. So transaction coordination or transaction coordinator are third-party liaison officer, and what they do is they are the ones who mediates between buyer and seller side, and making sure all parties are informed or in the loop on what is happening on the transaction. And they are also responsible on the dates inside the contracts, paperwork, and making sure the transactions is moving. And I could say that they are a superhero, because if we don't have the transaction coordinator, we're not informed, and we will lose the momentum on the transaction. So that's the role of a TC. But let me just define now what is the role of a transaction coordinator in this era, okay? All right, let's call this transaction coordinator at the core, right? We're not just like a transaction coordinator. We have a bigger role right now that really impacts the core of the business, right? And before, as an example, agents handle disclosures, escrow information, and scheduling themselves. So that's what real estate agent doing. But now, virtual assistant could be now act as a transaction coordinator. Because in US, you cannot, in some other state, you cannot be a transaction coordinator if you don't have the license. But you can read some other, research or resources online on how you can be a transaction coordinator or a particular state. But in some other state, you can be a TC, but you cannot write contracts. It is your client role to write a contract, because they are the licensed professional real estate, right? Or the licensed real estate agent. But as a transaction coordinator, you can still remove a lot on their plate, right? As a VA. So I started as a general virtual assistant, but right now I'm also doing transaction coordination. So instead of agent handling disclosure or paperwork, handling, escrow information, and scheduling inspection, I can do it for them. Okay, but I just make sure that they are looped in the email. So those roles, like sending disclosures, scheduling inspections, this could be done by real estate virtual assistants. Okay, particularly they are in the niche of transaction coordination, or they are specializing in transaction coordination. And I knew a lot of virtual assistants right now who does transaction coordination. Virtual assistant steps in transaction coordinators right now in sending DocuSign packages like sending documents for signature, scheduling inspection, following up with lenders and escrow officers and other parties. So we're not just only like a plain virtual assistant. We can now specialize in a much more crucial role, which is being a transaction coordinator, making sure that paperwork is being done properly and making sure that we are taking other tasks of the agents as a just to make sure that they will just they will just focus on client facing role and will focus on the paperwork and the other business process. So here's the hook. I've seen VAs manage 10 or more than 12 files, and I could attest to that. I think I was able to handle 17 to 20 transactions in a month, and it is really mind-blowing because you need to be, at the top of those 20 transactions, and there are a lot of parties inside. Imagine there are agents, there are sellers, there are escrow officers, and sometimes, I have a lot of, correspondence that I have to manage, right? So I've seen a virtual assistant manage more than 12 files at once and keeping everything on track so agents never miss a deadline. The goal of the transaction coordinator this era is to make sure that you will be like a vital part of their business to the point that they don't have to think anymore because you are the one who is managing the legwork or the transaction itself. What they will just need to do is, get an approval from you, or get an approval from the agent rather, to send this paperwork, to send this type of document, to upload this type of document, more an approval. But you as a transaction coordinator, if you are aspiring transaction coordinator, what you're going to do is you're going to manage all the paperwork and all the business processes of a real estate agent. But I'm not saying that you'll act as a real estate agent. It's just that maybe 80% of the tasks of that real estate agent, you will take over those tasks, and the 20% will be on the agent, like more on talking to the clients, talking to the lenders, and calling all the clients, something like that. Okay, now let's talk about client communication. So this is a very good, topic to talk about because we have this notion or idea that as a real estate virtual assistant, when it comes to client communication, we have a limited, things to do. Like we have this connotation that if you're a virtual assistant working on a real estate field or real estate business, what you do is just like a back office work, okay? Meaning you don't have direct client interaction. But now, what is really interesting is a virtual assistant can now call a leads to qualify them. Meaning to say, if there's specific leads on the CRM, the virtual assistant could freely, not really could freely, but they are now taking a much more bigger role wherein they can now call those leads and ask if they're really interested to, sell their house or buy a property, something like that. Also, a virtual assistant now can send seller weekly updates and of course respond to or handle first touch buyer inquiries, meaning to say these are the first time home buyers, right? That just inquired on your real estate agent or on your business, right? So based on this, realization or based on this data that I have is real estate virtual assistant can do a lot of things, okay? It's just that we are living on a previous mindset that, virtual assistant can do just like the basic tasks or the basic things, but that's not actually the situation. And one good example that I could give is a lot of virtual assistant right now can answer a new Zillow lead within 2 minutes, okay? And then book a showing and then hands the client to the agent ready to go. Meaning to say, a real estate virtual assistant can do multiple things at the same time that could really help the real estate agent, save time. And at the same time, this type of task would really equip the real estate agent to look like they are really prepared. They have a handful team of, support that could support the client, and the client would feel that they are on the right hand, right? And that's something that we need, right? So that's something that we also need to be aware of, that a real estate virtual assistant cannot just only do one thing, okay? Most especially in terms of client communication. They can do several things. Number 4, which is the last point in this video, is beyond admin, marketing and growth partner. So beyond being a marketing, beyond on being an administrative support or administrative assistant, real estate virtual assistant can also work as a marketing and growth partner. And I've seen a lot of, content creators in TikTok, and I could attest that some of my colleagues, are in this specific role, and they're doing a great job, right? And most of the agents appreciate, real estate virtual assistant, particularly those Filipino virtual assistant, because Filipino virtual assistant are really resourceful, right? Sometimes they don't need a paid subscription in order for them to produce a good quality of graphics, because they can just simply, use free resources and play around all the tools that they have, and they could be able to produce a great output. Now, so let's talk about being a marketing and growth partner. So before, if we think about someone or being a virtual assistant who does, graphic design, the only thing that they're doing is they're just going to create a basic graphic, whatever the platform that they're using, and they're just going to post it on Facebook as a just listed, and that's it. But now, in this era, or in this 2025, a virtual assistant now can do different type of things. Number 1, they can run an ad campaign, whether it is a Facebook ad, a Google ads, TikTok ads. A virtual assistant can do those things. And who could have imagined that after a few years, virtual assistant can do those type of things, right? And it is really amazing that we, a Filipino virtual assistant, are really talented, right? That we could be able to tap in global clients, and we could be considered as a global talents, right? I love that. And right now, they can also repurpose content. When we say repurpose, from a long form video, a virtual assistant can cut or can transform the long form video into 12 different short clips with caption, and that would turn to a reels, right? And reels is one of the, I think, good content to be published on a social media platform. It really catches the attention of the audience, and it would be a great help for a real estate agent, because most of the real estate agents don't have the time to shoot the content on a studio or on their phone, because they're really busy. They're always talking to clients, they're always on the field, and that 30-minute video that they can shoot in just one day, or in just 1 hour rather, talking on a particular topic, and their virtual assistant will repurpose them. It will cut it out and transform to 12 different clips, and that 12 clips could be cross-posted across social media platform. That will be a great help, okay? And that's something that a virtual assistant can do. And how they could be able to do that? Through the help of artificial intelligence, or AI. There are a lot of AIs right now that could help us transform long form video to short clips. I think one of them is Descript. All the platforms that I've been mentioning on this video will be put on the description box, so you could be able to explore. What else? Opus. Opus is one platform that they could be able to use to reproduce or repurpose content. The last but not the least is a virtual assistant can now analyze engagement data or analytics. So they are not just really getting inspiration in creating a content calendar based on the hunch, right? Based on the trends, but they have an empirical data or evidence on what topics should we still, publish based on the content that we published in the last 30 days. So, and what is our client avatar? What is our audience avatar? What is the age range of our audience? what particular country most of our agents are, located, something like that. It's more of trying to understand the numbers and the data that you have, so you could be able to plan out and create a much more effective, content to be published that would really tickles their mind and will get their interest, of course. So let me just have some water, because I think my throat right now is really dry, because I've been talking since 11 p.m. and I have to film. Of course, I will not make this video too long, because this will gonna be like a series. There's gonna be another topic next week. So I just want to remind everybody, and that includes, all real estate agents or real estate professionals, that the role of a real estate virtual assistant today, or this 2025, it is just about taking tasks. It's more about being a business partner on the business, okay? It more of driving growth, improving client experience, and giving agents, if you're a real estate agent, they give you freedom to focus on what they do. So you can just be close deals. And what is just written on my shirt, I work while you close deals. And that's something like what a virtual assistant or real estate virtual assistant can do. Okay? You close deals, and we'll be the one to work at the back end, right? We will be the one to take care of your business, right? And if you're a virtual assistant or aspiring real estate virtual assistant, think bigger, okay? You're no longer just a support, you are a partner in the business. So remove that limiting belief that, they are my boss and I have to obey them, I have to take the orders from them, something like that. So if you still have that mindset, girl, it's 2025, turning 2026 in just few months. So you have to shift your mindset on a different type of mindset. You think that your client is your business partner. If you help them grow, you grow. If you help them earn, you will earn. Okay? You have to think like a business owner as well. Okay, I'll repeat that. It's very important. You have to become a business owner as well. You have to think like a business owner. Okay? So you remove that employee mindset. Because if you're still gonna have that, you will not thrive or succeed in this industry. Okay? And if you are an agent, the question isn't whether you're gonna hire a VA. That's not the real question. It's how fast you can hire a virtual assistant. Because if you're not hiring as a real estate virtual assistant or virtual assistant in your business, you are left behind. So start hiring a virtual assistant, okay? You can connect with me. I can help you to connect with top talents here in the Philippines. You just have to send me a message or comment here in this video. I'm gonna connect with you, okay? So I think that would be all. Don't underestimate the power of virtual assistants on your business, okay? There are a lot of testimonials that you can read online, and you can also ask some other real estate agents in the industry, so you can get some like good feedback from them, okay? And don't forget to hit the subscribe button on my channel, so you'll be aware that I have another video that is coming up. And this will be a series. So next week, we will be tackling a different type of, topic which is aligned, right, on our topic that we're going to discuss. It will gonna be like episode 2, focusing on modern real estate VA skills. When I say modern real estate VA skills, what are the skills that you need to acquire as a real estate virtual assistant or virtual assistant in general this 2025? Maybe you are getting a lot of interviews. Maybe you're seeing a lot of job listings, but you don't have the right skills to put in your resume, and you don't know what skills to put. Now, that's something that we're going to talk about in this series, okay? I'm gonna see you on next video. Thank you so much. I hope I did a great job on my first video. Bye, everyone.